Look at his hands. That is mud, and he is rubbing it into his own skin on purpose. He is standing in a river. Clean water, right there, up to his knees, and he has chosen the dirt. No soap. Soap does not exist yet. So how do you get clean when the best thing you own is filth? The flies are not set dressing. Flies find a body by smell. They have found his, and nothing in this river is going to fix that. But the mud works. Clay is built out of flat mineral sheets with a charge sitting on them. Grease sticks to that charge harder than it sticks to you. Smear it on, let it dry, rinse it off, and the oil leaves with the clay. Cold water on its own does almost nothing to grease. So the first cleaning technology on Earth was dirt. It was a choice, and it was correct. There is a shop near you selling that exact mud in a small jar with a calm label. Clay dug out of a mountain range, used on skin for centuries before anybody put a barcode on it. The mud is the reasonable part of this story. The strangest thing ancient humans ever cleaned themselves with came out of a body. Hold on to that one. It is coming back later, and it is worse than you are picturing. Plants first. Crush the root of a yucca in water and shake it. It foams. Real lather, climbing the sides of the bowl, thick enough to wash hair in, soapwort, soap bark, soapberry. Nobody had to work out the chemistry because the names tell you people had already worked out the result. Those plants are loaded with a compound that grabs water at one end and oil at the other. That is the entire trick your shampoo does. The same answer turns up separately on different continents among people who never met. Crushed root, warm water, foam, hair. I assumed lather was a factory thing. It is not. It came off a root, and we copied it. That covers hair. It does not cover a body that has spent the day inside a dead animal. So you fight grease with grease. Rub oil over your whole body. Olive oil where olives grow, animal fat everywhere else. Give it a minute. The oil dissolves the old grease already sitting on your skin. Everything that grease was holding onto comes away with it. Dust, smoke, blood, dead skin, then you scrape it off. There is a tool for this, a curved bronze blade shaped to fit an arm. You drag it down your body and a gray rope of gunk comes off the edge and drops on the floor. That is a clean body. Cleaner than cold water and a hard scrub, and it is the same chemistry as the makeup remover in your bathroom. Somewhere in there is a version of your morning where you pour cooking oil down your back. Then you go at your arms with a butter knife. In the far north, they did the same thing with seal oil. Washing in water at 40 below is not hygiene. It is a way to die. Two men, same evening. One rinses in the river and is still greasy. The other one is covered in fat and is about to be the cleanest person in the valley. And that gray rope on the floor. Remember it. Somebody was collecting that, and somebody was paying for it. Teeth next, and this is where they beat you. Take a twig off certain trees, chew one end until the fibers split into bristles. You now have a brush, and not a sad improvised one. The wood carries silica, which scrubs. It carries natural antibacterials and a bicarbonate that neutralizes the acid mouth bacteria make. Trials against a nylon toothbrush keep coming back level. Public health bodies list it as a legitimate tool. Half the planet still uses one. There were powders too. One Egyptian recipe is burnt ox hoof, myrrh, burnt eggshell, and pumice, ground together. Abrasive, antibacterial, alkaline. That is a functioning toothpaste, built by people who had never heard of bacteria. None of which explains how we know any of it. Wood rots, roots rot, clay and fat and ash leave nothing behind. Thousands of people cleaning their mouths every morning for thousands of years should have left us an empty shelf. The record survived. It survived in the one place on a human body that nobody ever cleaned. Plaque hardens. Left alone long enough, it turns into a mineral crust welded onto the tooth. That crust traps whatever was in the mouth while it formed food, pollen, smoke particles, fibers of thread, traces of whatever you were chewing for the pain. Then it sets and sits there for thousands of years, sealed. So here is a jaw out of a grave, belonging to a woman nobody had any reason to look at twice. The crust is scraped off her teeth and dissolved, and what comes out of it goes under a lens. It is blue, not stained blue, studded with hard bright particles of blue stone, ground fine. The stone is lapis lazuli. It came from one mine on the far side of the known world. Ground down, it makes the deepest blue paint that existed. It was worth more than gold. It went on the robes of saints and on almost nothing else. And it is in her mouth. Not once. Enough to embed. The simplest explanation is the right one. She was painting with it, and she was pointing her brush the way painters point a brush, by drawing the tip between her lips. She was making the books. For a very long time, everybody assumed that job belonged to men in monasteries. One thing here I cannot account for. Blue that expensive, going into her mouth every working day for years, and not one person in that building stopped her. We know her trade because of the one thing she never cleaned off. Every scrap of the rest of it, the twigs, the powders, the plants, survived exactly the same way. Sweat has no smell. None. It leaves you as water and salt, sterile. The smell is farming. Bacteria live in your armpit, sweat is their food, and the smell is their waste. That is the whole mechanism. You do not smell of sweat. You smell of what lives on you. Fed and thriving, your deodorant is not covering a smell. It is poisoning a farm. So the fight was never with the sweat. It was with the population. Egyptians pressed pellets of resin and carob and tucked them straight into the armpit. Strong scent and a bad neighborhood for bacteria at the same time. At parties, they wore cones of scented fat on top of their heads. You can see them painted on tomb walls. A pale lump balanced on every wig in the room. It melts all evening and runs perfume down the neck. Everybody assumed the cones were symbolic, a painter's shorthand for smelling good. Then somebody dug up two people still wearing them. There is a version of an evening where scented fat runs into your collar all night and you consider yourself immaculate. That version lasted longer than ours has. Here is the gray rope of gunk from earlier. The scrapings off those bronze blades were not swept out of the bathhouse. They were collected and sold as medicine for aches and swelling and skin complaints. Gladiator scrapings went for a premium. His sweat, his oil, his dirt in a small pot. It went on the face as a cosmetic. It sold as an aphrodisiac. I want to be exact about what is in that pot. Sweat, dead skin and floor, and it sold out. Then the big one. Urine. Leave urine in a jar for a week and it breaks down into ammonia. Ammonia strips grease out of wool better than anything else they had, so the laundries ran on it. In Roman cities, you can still stand next to the pots that sat out on the street corners. They were put there so that men walking past would fill them. The laundry down the road needed raw material, and the raw material walked around all day making itself for free. An entire supply chain, collection points, transport, buyers. Your body is producing industrial degreaser right now. Nobody is coming to collect it. The state noticed and taxed it. There is a story told about that tax. The emperor's son called the money beneath them, so the emperor held a coin under his nose and asked what it smelled of. The story may be an invention, the tax was not, and soap did exist by then. Ash and fat cooked together make soap, and people had known that for a very long time. It was for wool. For centuries, almost nobody put it on a body, none of which answers the flies. There is a fact underneath all of this that has nothing to do with mud or twigs or resin. Whether your body smells is not only a question of what you wash with. Part of it is a setting. One gene, one position on it, one letter. Change that letter, and two things change at once. Your earwax turns from wet and sticky to dry and flaky, and the glands in your armpit stop sending out most of the raw material the bacteria feed on. Less food, far less smell. Not switched off. Turned down hard. A very large share of the people alive today carry that quiet version. Look in your ear tonight. That is the readout. Wet means the loud version. The loud version is the older one, the one the man in the river was working with. The polite way to say this is that hygiene was never the whole story. My way is blunter. Some people were always going to lose that argument, whatever they scrubbed with. Nobody knows why that version spread the way it did. We still cannot say what it was doing for them. So he stands in the river with mud in both fists. The flies come anyway. No amount of clay was going to fix that, because half of the argument was settled before he was born. You woke up this morning and stripped every oil off your skin with a chemical descended from ash and fat. Then you put oils back on from a second bottle, because the first bottle took too many. He rubbed dirt on. You rubbed dirt on too. Yours comes in a jar. Thanks for watching. All the sources and studies used in this video can be found in the description below.